And we say hello, Canada. Welcome back to Mayflower Cashspiel, presented by Stanhope Simpson Insurance. I'm John Seitman, joined alongside by Karen Skivington for the call of tonight's women's action here between Team Mary Myketyn-Driscoll out of Halifax, out of Charlottetown. As teams have gotten started with the first end, we have Team Myketyn-Driscoll playing the Red Stones, Team Veronica Smith playing the yellow, and we'll have the last rock in the first end.
This should be an interesting matchup. We haven't seen them play a lot of each other since probably their junior days. I know Mary and Veronica played against each other quite a few years ago in juniors, so it's good to see them still out there playing the sport, and look forward to seeing the action in this game.
Yes, as you do mention there, they did face off one time back in Canadian Junior Championship. It was a 9-4 victory. Again, a lot has changed since.
Yeah, for the viewers at home, we're playing a new format this year. You'll see guard zone, the area in front of the house, 5 rocks of the end. This is new from last year. It'll be a little bit of different strategy. Teams that trailed have an opportunity to come back. Perhaps teams with a lead might utilize it to jump ahead. So it'll be interesting to see how and where that might be used this game.
For sure, as both teams are currently playing a fairly open end, just hitting and rolling around the house.
Yeah, it's always good to play it simple the first couple ends. You get a read on the ice. This is the first draw both these teams are playing for this event. So getting used to the ice, the speed, how much it's going to curl, and get their feet under them, sort of to say. And it will help. We'll get probably a little bit more rocks in play as the end progresses and the game continues on.
So it looks like this rock's gliding just a little bit here and just sails by. Gives an opportunity here for Mary to bring another stone into the house, put some pressure on early. As we see here, this now on to, I believe that, yeah, it's second stone, so that will bring Caitlin Veach.
So both teams had a chance to draw just before the game began for hammer. So they have a good idea what draw weight may be. However, this is a direction and path that they haven't used yet. So good communication to try and get that out there.
Both sweepers working on it there, and it does come short, so a bit of a break there for Veronica Smith. As we see this stone here from Sabrina Smith. Sweepers working on it. It seems like so far, just as the teams have been playing this side, it does appear like when you do have the weight up, it does glide out a little bit. So that could be something to watch out for.
Yeah, sometimes the ice is so quick that when characteristic run a little bit straighter, throwing could also play a factor into that. We'll see if that continues throughout the game as the pebble wears in.
So on to third stones here. We see Bridget McPhail. Sweeper's just dusting it off here.
With Caitlin's last rock, they had an opportunity to see this side of the sheet, so now they're a little more familiar with it. Able to get that weight zeroed in.
And good result. Still, it does remain open. So here we have Jane DiCarlo, the third for Team Smith, playing with weight. working hard to get by the guard. Just scrapes by, gets the stone, rolls out.
Opportunity now for Mary to get hers buried a little better this time. It's an interesting strategy for Mary without last rock to be playing the wings.
So sweeper's not even touching it there. Weight looks up. And a little bit of a missed opportunity there.
Opportunity for Veronica to perhaps draw the other side, stay away from that corner guard, and force Mary away. See if we can get an idea what draw weight is on this side. We haven't seen the inside out on this side. Looks like it might be a little heavy though.
So as it does go right through, there gives some opportunity here for Mary Myketyn-Driscoll to skip out of Halifax.
So how long has this team been together, John?
This team is a fairly new team. Mary, I forget which team she played with last year, but I know there Bridget McPhail and Caitlin Veach played last year with the former world senior champion Colleen Pinckney. And I'm not familiar with Michelle McDonald. You may have some more insight into her than I would, but she slots in at lead.
Did see them play at the Lakeshore Cashspiel earlier this year. One of the players was in and out of the event, planning her wedding. I believe Michelle just got married not long ago, so some of the players were around for that event. We got to see them play early this year.
Looking for it to just come to rest, and it will at the back of the 8, just biting the 4. So now we'll see the first of 2 from Veronica Smith, the long-standing junior star out of Prince Edward Island, now making her mark in the women's circuit.
Good opportunity this end for Veronica. She's set up to blank and carry the hammer into the second end. Always nice to have the hammer in the even ends, because that would mean you would have it come the 8th end coming home.
Sweeper's just trying to hold the line here.
Very nice.
Nice hit and stick. Sits biting the 4.
So we have a few other matches out there this evening. We have 3 other games. They started a few minutes before we came live, so we'll bring you updates throughout the game on those. As Mary settles in here for a clean hit.
As we see final stone for this end for Mary Myketyn-Driscoll. Looking for the hit. Gets the hit, rolls over to the side, and looks like it is. It
appears to be out.
Appears to be out from our camera angle there, yes.
So opportunity here for Veronica to blank the end and keep the hammer going into the second.
So here we go, final stone in end number 1. In the hands of Veronica Smith. Just playing it right through to blank this end. No worries there, as it will go right through the house, and if it's exactly what we see it as, it will be a blank end, and Team Veronica Smith will retain the last rock, but they are looking at it.
Well, we always, and in the coaching world, we always say, when in doubt, take a second look, and if you're in doubt again, then measure it, make sure it is in or out.
So there you go. They have confirmed blank end in end number 1. So Veronica Smith will have the last rock. As both teams have a discussion here, we'll bring you up to date. We have 3 games in play on this Thursday evening inside the Mayflower Curling Club. On sheet number 2, Colleen Jones, a legendary women's skip with many national titles to her credit, is on that sheet playing against that would be Julie McAvoy, and is currently 3-0 after 1 in favor of Colleen Jones. On sheet number 5, Team Martin Cret from Quebec, rocking the Vegas Golden Knights style jerseys out there on the ice tonight. They took a single in end number 1 against Doug McKenzie. I believe that is out of Prince Edward Island, if I remember. Am I wrong? I may be wrong.
I believe he might be out of Mayflower or Halifax Curling Club now.
I must be forgetting that. I'm usually the stats guy there, so I don't know where people are from at times there. And on sheet number 6, we have Colin Thomas out of Newfoundland and Labrador, playing against the multi-time champions of Nova Scotia, Team Jamie Murphy. And that game is scoreless through 1.
So just exchanging rocks here back on sheet 4 between Team Myketyn-Driscoll and Team Smith. So as we expected, the first few ends have been played quite clean to this point, as the girls settle in and get used to the ice conditions in this event, as it is, as we said, their first game.
Sweepers working on it here, so trying to just hold the line. Looks good here, and we'll get the hit. Rolls over to the side.
Just hang in on the back 8 foot there.
So here we see Whitney Jenkins, the lead for Team Veronica Smith, with her second of 2.
So we're still seeing the directional sweeping that we saw last year. Much controversy a few years ago over sweeping styles and whatnot, but the one sweeper to make a curl or to hold it straight seems to still be the rule of thumb.
And it's definitely something that's really changed the game for sure, because now the science seems to back up the new style of sweeping, and the teams are definitely adapting well to it over the past few years since it came onto the scene.
Yeah, and I'm sure our parents and grandparents never thought you would have to go to the gym to be in shape to go sweeping.
Absolutely
nowadays.
not.
So teams are spending just as much time in the gyms now as they are on the ice to be at peak physical conditioning for this.
Sweeper's not even touching it, so Veronica Smith sweeping it, trying to get it out to the back. Will come to rest at the back of the 12.
going to keep it clean and remove that. Some skips may opt to ignore that one at the back of the house, but it is still early in the game. Trying to hold the line here.
Jenkins working on it. Just gets the edge.
Just enough to do it.
Yeah. Don't forget we are again live and interactive as well. If you want to reach out with your questions or comments for either myself or our expert commentator Karen Skiffington, you can reach out. My Twitter handle is @JohnSiteman, so SITEMAN. So reach out to us. And we also love hearing from where our viewers are tuning in from, because we do have viewers from across Canada and around the world, thanks to our friends at cbcsports.ca. Sweeper's just dusting it. Looks like it's going to come to rest. They're at the top of the 12.
Not wasting any time here. Veronica's got the broom down, ready to go, keeping it clean. No time clocks at this event, although the pace of play would be managed by the organizing officials to ensure that the game does run on time. But no time clocks like you see at other events.
But again, as some of our viewers may be familiar with some of the events that you would see on the World Curling Tour, it is 8 ends of play. And if we were to be tied at the end of those 8 ends, we would go an extra.
It's one of those words the umpires don't like you to hear too often.
Of course. Yeah, it tends that these TV games there, the teams tend to rise to occasions there, and there's been lots of extra end games on these hallowed sheets at the Mayflower. Many great moments in this arena.
So, of course, we got Team Red over on sheet 5.
Martin's known for being fairly loud. There, I believe he was the longtime vice for Jean-Michel Menard.
Yes. No doubt if it's your team for sweeping, if it's him yelling. So. So an empty house for Jane DiCarlo to draw to.
So again, both teams definitely just finding the feel for the ice early in this game.
Seeing lots of rocks in play on the other sheets, so I think probably the next end we'll probably start seeing a few more rocks in play as the teams have settled in.
As the yellow sails through there.
I think our ice is just a little bit quicker this end.
And it's definitely interesting to see, because this is the way that the teams drew during the pre-game practice and draws to the button. So a little bit more of a knowledge compared to playing the other way.
Yeah, they do throw a practice shot and then their draw for hammer before the game. And the ice is prepped for them in the sense that they do nip and rock it so that it breaks down the pebble a little bit. That simulates the first end being played and takes some of the stiffness out of the ice, takes the frost away. So you can still expect that, because they haven't done a full practice, that there still will be getting keener in the first end or two. After this end, it will probably be maintained at, probably about 15 seconds hog to hog for an end or two.
So here at Third Stones,
I want to call them Team PEI, but yep. Team Smith, she's represented PEI so often in juniors.
And I believe I may be wrong. Wasn't isn't her brother Tyler who was Smith the one who was long time?
I believe so. I'm sure some of our viewers may correct us, but if not brother, then definitely cousin. I know there's some relations there. So.
I do remember a Team Smith playing for Prince Edward Island at the Canada Games when it was here at the Mayflower.
Yes, he was.
He was the youngest of the entire field, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and he qualified for the next year as well, I believe.
Yeah.
The next round of Canada Games, they're every 4 years.
So as we see this first stone here from Mary Myketyn-Driscoll, coming around the guard at just outside the top of the 12.
Yeah, so we've seen them exchange rocks pretty much through this end, either through draws or hits. And now that there's a rock in front of the rings, not in the rings, Mary has elected to ignore it and try to come around.
Looks like it is heavy a bit, so we'll see where it comes to rest.
Yeah, as we said, just that ice is just that half a second quicker this end. I'm not sure what you call that logo. It looks kind of like a gobbledygoo. So the red rock is right on the gobbledygoo arm.
Yeah. That's, some of our viewers may be familiar. It's the logo for Orange Theory Fitness, which is a fitness company that I believe Brad Gushu is affiliated with, and also a national level curler himself there, Mark Dacey of Nova Scotia, who is also playing in this event, not in this draw.
Yeah, it just came off the ice, I believe. Played the afternoon draw. So this is the last draw this evening, and then we have a few draws tomorrow, Saturday, and all day Sunday. So if you're in the area and want to drop in, there is tickets available at the door or packages available. I think you have some more information on that, John?
Yeah, single entry for a draw is $5, and event passes are $15. So we are located at the Mayflower Curling Club, 3000 Monaghan Drive off of Yonge Street in Halifax. So come on down, watch some exciting curling from some of the best in the country. Always some exciting curling here at the Dave Jones Mayflower Cashspiel.
Yes, for sure, and all these teams from all over the country and visiting us, and it's great to see so many different provinces represented this weekend. So Veronica just exchanged stones with Mary, and now Mary has an opportunity to hit. Nice little roll behind cover would be nice here. Perhaps force Veronica to take one.
So it does get a bit of a roll to the inside, but still appears to be fairly open. So as Veronica heads down to the hack for her final stone of end number 2 with the hammer.
Opportunity to blank again. If she hits and rolls out, carry the hammer again through to the third. Not, probably one of the better options to do. Certainly not a bad option to take the one and give Mary the hammer in the odd end, and then try to score 2 again after that.
So here we go, final stone in end number 2, Veronica Smith out of Prince Edward Island. Playing the hit, looks like with that weight it's going to be hitting to roll out. Gets the hit, gets the roll, and will blank end number 2. Veronica will carry the hammer over to end number 3.
And the score will remain 0-0.
As the teams have their discussion, we will update the game on 2 just finished up an end, so we don't have an update on that one yet. We will give that to you once we receive it. But on sheet number 6, it is a 1-0 lead for Colin Thomas over Jamie Murphy, and they are playing end number 3.
Sheet 5 just finished their second end as well, so once we have that score, we'll let you know as they begin their third end. So we've had a couple ends here. We've gotten a feel for the ice. We may see a few more rocks in play this end as we get closer to the midpoint of the game. This looks like it's called for out front.
Sweeper's working on it here.
Gotta work it hard.
Looks like is it gonna get over? It will just.
Great sweeping from Bridget and Caitlin. So as we said, we have the 5-rock rule here, so this stone cannot be removed from play. However, Team Smith can elect to move it around a little bit. It is a very high guard, so it's probably not going to come into play very often. I would expect Team Myketyn-Driscoll will probably try to put a second guard behind it. Veronica's going to try to get around this first.
Yeah, okay, so she is electing to play into the house. Therefore, this stone of Whitney Jenkins. Looks like it's a little bit wide there, so we'll see if it comes back.
Maybe a little heavy as well.
Sweeper's working on it, trying to get it as much curl as possible. Will come to bite the, I believe it's top 8, just close to biting the 4.
Mary going to try to remove this. We get it a little on the inside of nose, we might get a little roll behind cover. So with this new 5-rock rule, certainly a different skill set required at the second stone's position.
Absolutely.
We're just going to run on her own. So because that was her own stone, it can be removed from play. It's only the opposition stone that you cannot remove.
So it gives an opportunity here for Veronica Smith and her team with this the second stone here from Whitney.
Yeah, great opportunity for Team Smith to set up their deuce. This is why we blanked the first 2 ends, so we could have the hammer one try to score 2.
Sweeper's working on it, trying to get the curl. There needs to get a bit more. You see the directional sweeping once again.
Yeah, so you'll see Sabrina will really want to sweep hard to try to get it to curl a little more.
Gets a lot out of it, but still remains open. Quick update of the games on sheets 2 and 5 that we had mentioned about. Steal of 1 for Colleen Jones in end number 2 to go up 4-0 over Julie McAvoy. Julie will have the hammer in end number 3. And Martin Kretz out of Quebec has a steal of 2 there in the 5th. On sheet number 5 in the second end, so that is a 3-0 lead over Doug McKenzie. Sweeper's working on it here, trying to get by. Will wreck on the guard.
So you see Veronica trying to sweeping. If she gets it out, it will be put back because it is still part of the 5-rock rule. Just confirming with her team that was approximately where that was.
And that's where it's a little bit different than what some of the highest level curlers would usually see at some of the events, like say on the Grand Slam circuit, where sometimes they would look up on the big screen and watch it if there's a televised game and that occurred. But
yeah. Watch the replay, see where the rock was before.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no big screens here in the Mayflower Curling Club.
I think it's great that we have all this streaming available now.
Absolutely.
Brings so many families in that can't travel to see their loved ones play. Fantastic for all the sponsors that make it possible.
And we do thank the curling store for making it possible, and of course our crew behind the scenes, Sean from Strong Coffee Media Group and Chuck from 45 North, longtime supporters of curling here in Nova Scotia. Makes us look good here on the audio and makes the curlers look good out there on the ice. So we thank them for all their hard work. They'll be doing a lot throughout the weekend.
The Team Smith successful in getting a guard. There is still a small piece visible to Team Myketyn-Driscoll, so they're trying to just chip that out. Tolerance here, if you take the guard off, that would be acceptable as well. Primary target is the one in the house.
Sweeper's working on this. It's coming a lot across center, so we'll see where it goes from the guard.
Yep, taking off after the center line, so they'll take the guard off. Raise the other one in.
The shooter will come to rest on the other side, but it will leave Veronica Smith sitting too. Now electing to play the guard.
Yep, guard the number 1 shot.
Because I suppose just in that position, it is highly possible that if it remained open, it would be a pretty good possibility for a double if they were to attempt it. Yeah. There.
She could also draw to the other side behind the red and get in there before Mary, set herself up for 3, really put Mary on the chase then.
So here, coming across center, it does appear like it does curl a lot across the center line, so sweepers are working on it.
Over and off, as they say. Sometimes sweeping will make it curl too much for you, so in this situation they just wanted to get it over.
And it does over curl, so it does leave it open. And it looks like it, as soon as we called it up here, it looks like Mary's calling it down there.
Yeah, I think you can pretty much see all of this stone. So if you take a little bit down weight, you may get the inside of it. The guard is quite high. The opportunity to get behind their guard.
So as we see this from Bridget McPhail, Sweeper's working on it.
Line looks good, they're by. She's gonna get the back one
Gets
as well.
the hit, gets the double, and will roll behind. Just rolls out the other side, but still sits in the back of the 12. So good result there for Team Mary Myketyn-Driscoll to sit there 1.
Yeah, very good opportunity there. Went from a whole yellow house to a red house. So keeping that biter over in the backside behind cover. Veronica's going to ignore that and get another rock in there. Veronica really trying to score her deuce this end.
And the sweepers are working on it here, trying to get enough curl around their guard at the top of the free guard zone, as we're used to calling, of course. And
great sweep by the sweepers here to drag that in.
And really good sweep there.
We were out a little farther, so still a little stiffer on the ice out there, running a little heavier. Hasn't been worn down yet.
And we'll see as the game moves along, that will start to as the pebble does come down, you'll see some changes to the speed.
So Mary can't see a whole lot of this Smith stone, so she's ignoring it and going to draw around cover. As they say, throw the side you know.
And sweeper's working on it here as it's coming across the center line.
Line's looking good.
Looking good to get past the guard, but will it get past the stone at the top of the 12?
Just gets by.
Oh, there you go, just gets by.
Great sweep.
And great sweep there to sit T-line and sit there 1.
Because it's on the T-line, Smith can draw down to it and get out-counted. So she's got the ice here now to draw down. Jane DiCarlo, a successful junior skip herself.
And it's already starting to take off there as it comes across the center line already.
Yeah, I think this is a little bit lighter than the one Bridget threw, so it's curling a little quicker than them. So opportunity for Mary to draw around and set up 2. Slightly different paths.
So it'll definitely be important for her to get a bit of a knowledge of this for especially the later stages of this match.
Yeah, for sure. It's always important for the skip to really know what her draw weight is. Comes down to that last rock and knowing you can put it on the lid every time. It's a great opportunity. Tolerance here, if she went top 8 foot, even top 12 foot wouldn't be bad because it would block the path to the button for Team Smith. So anywhere along that path from 12 foot in would probably be great. I like top 8 foot myself. So.
Yeah, same here. If you can get around top 8 foot buried, it really puts some pressure on Veronica Smith for sure.
Line staying out there, we need it to curl.
Sweeper's working on it here, trying to get the curl.
Line looks great. Great shot, great communication between the sweepers and the line caller in the house.
Yeah, that's always one of my favorite things to see out on the ice is good communication skills. It was always my little anecdote with my team there that if you weren't talking, you weren't doing your job, and they were definitely communicating well.
Yeah, communication, just like release and weight control and leg drive and timing in your delivery, it's a skill that you have to practice, and the teams that do it well have been practicing it for a very long time.
And it can often turn a good team or a great team into a championship team, for sure.
Veronica taking a close look at these 2 stones at the top of the house. Not quite sure which one might be number 1 and 2. The angle our camera is at looks like yellow might be number 2.
I would tend to agree with you on that one. There you can just see it just enough of the edge of the 12 foot. So it would appear to be yellow.
Looks like she might be trying to run something back. See if the on-ice microphone can pick it up. So discussion on just what rocks could be moved around. Still a little difficult. We have mics that are out in the ice shed. Unfortunately, they pick up all of the ice shed, not just the 1 players that we need. So just appeal to open everything up.
And does move 1 stone there of Mary Myketyn-Driscoll's into the house.
Leaves a yellow shooter on the edge of the yellow guard on the edge of the 4 foot. Not a bad position for Veronica because she still could draw down to that back red one and tap it back and remain behind cover. But the guard is a danger to Mary now. So she can eliminate it by drawing behind it or by hitting it. It's a very similar shot to what she just threw. Looking to go top 8 foot, half buried behind the yellow guard. That would block the draw in as well as the run back. Really put some pressure on this PEI team out of Charlottetown.
A bit of noise here in the ice shed as Martin Kratz playing his last over on sheet 5. So now we see this stone from Mary Myketyn-Driscoll final stone for her in end number 3. Holding a few for sure.
Yeah, this one's not curling as quick as we've seen.
Sweeper's working on it here. Comes to rest at the top of the 12. Just enough, it appears to sit 1, 2, 3.
Right where she asked for it, so blocks that path into the 4-foot. If Veronica hits it, she won't be number 1. So opportunity to raise the yellow into the 4-foot, since most of the draw paths are blocked off.
Yeah, they're definitely looking at that as the main option there. The inner risk taker in me almost saw a random out of nowhere triple, but that's not probably the smartest call this early in the game. But
well, you can raise for 1, or you can try and do a fancy shot for 1. They're both for 1. So
either way, it's for 1. So you got to do the shot that gets you the result.
Exactly, and the one that's going to be the highest probability of success. So it's very difficult to try a draw on the outturn side, as Veronica's indicating now, to try and get the 4-foot. She does have to get about half a stone onto the 4-foot to count number 1, and it would be against 2 or 3.
So yeah, it would definitely lean to more likely going for that raise on their stone at the side of the 12-foot.
Yeah, there's a little bit more options if you try the raise. If you curl a little less, you can raise at a different angle. If you're a little heavy, you can run it back on the red. You can almost hit nose and run it in. So there's a little bit more probability of success. If you just try the open draw, as we said, you have to get half of the stone on the 4-foot to count. There's not a lot of room to do that. And any of the hit options probably
very difficult.
Yeah, very difficult. Eliminate points perhaps, but not necessarily to score 1.
So that will make final stone here for Veronica Smith in end number 3.
Looking to tap
Still scoreless.
Looking to tap her yellow from the 12-foot into the 4-foot.
Final stone here from Veronica Smith. Looking for the raise. Sweeper is saying it's a little bit heavy, but now they're working on it.
Gotta go.
May end up having to go to plan B and play on the guard. Yeah. Will rack on the guard and send in, it appears,
looks like 3 red.
3 red.
As they take a quick closer look at the back top ones. I think it's 3 for sure.
So you're just taking a look between those two at the top of the 12-foot.
And we're going to have a measure.
So our first measure of the match.
Keeps things exciting, eh?
Absolutely, as we still remain scoreless so far before this end. Already taken 3 out. This is the measure for the 4th. As Bridget goes to get the measuring stick there, we will just quickly update there. Julie McAvoy takes a single in end number 3. Colleen Jones retains the lead, and we'll have the last rock in end number 4 on sheet number 2. A steal 1 for Martin Kretz on sheet number 5 to go up 4-0 on Doug McKenzie. And it appears it will still be 1-0 for Colin Thomas of Newfoundland and Labrador against Jamie Murphy. So Jamie Murphy will have the hammer in end number 4.
We're all set to measure. So if you've seen Scotties or Brier competition, you usually see an umpire go out and do the measurements. The teams do that themselves in these types of events. So both thirds will do it together. Making sure they get the dial right on the edge of the stone so they get an accurate measurement.
we go. So just trying to get a good reading on it before going over to the yellow stone.
Looks like it was yellow. So 3 red.
So that'll be a steal of 3 for Mary Myketyn-Driscoll in this third end of play to go up 3-0. Veronica Smith will retain the last rock in end number 4.
So the teams will have had their little discussion while the measurement happened. So we should be right into end number 4 here. I would expect a clean game from Mary. Veronica's now going to need to get some more rocks in play. We may see that 5-rock rule come into effect this end as she tries to make sure she scores 2 or 3.
So as we start into this 4th end here with Michelle McDonald of Team Myketyn-Driscoll.
So first stone being called into the rings. Keep those rocks out of the free guard zone where Team Smith would like to have lots of rocks. They've got draw weight dialed in
top
now.
of the 4-foot there. Definitely dialed in.
So Veronica ignoring this and going for a corner guard. So she'll have an opportunity to get 2 guards before the free guard zone runs out and the other team can hit.
So sweeper's working on it here early. Trying to hold the line to the ideal result for Veronica.
Yeah, you like it somewhere over in front of like the 8-foot. So right where Veronica has her broom, right on the logo. Very nice.
Almost familiar to some of our viewers who may have watched like the Briar and the Scotties with the Tim Hortons coffee cups. There, the Orange Theory Fitness logos are pretty much in almost the exact same spot there on the ice. So,
or if you're in a club that is now
spot.
playing the mixed doubles and you have the dots out there for the pre-positioned stones for mixed doubles. Those dots come in handy for positioning guards.
Yeah, that's one discipline I've always wanted to try there. Yet for some reason I wonder why, because I've never been able to sweep very well.
Very demanding type of game physically. Even though there's only 5 rocks being delivered, you're throwing and sweeping the rock at the same time, so quite physically challenging.
So that stone of Team Myketyn-Driscoll's will come to bite the top of the 12.
And Veronica drawing around her yellow now. Trying to set up an end where she has rocks in play. She's not really concerned about Mary's rock at this point of the end. Wants to get her own colors in before she worries about that.
So we'll see Team Smith there with Sabrina Smith trying to come around here. It will be light.
Yeah, I haven't played this far out on this side of the sheet yet, so.
And it will come short of the hog line, so that will be removed from play.
So Mary forgot about the 5-rock rule, so she cannot remove it. Team's reminding her down at the other end.
And that's where a bit of what we've seen in the past there of teams trying to get used to the 4-rock rule versus the 5-rock.
Yeah. So she can tap hers up, guarded. Lots of option here. The key for Mary is to make sure it's really close to the house, if not in.
So based on the draws earlier in the game, this does look like it would be a weight that would be close to in the house.
Might be enough to split off the top one. Roll them both in. Very nice. Keeps her guard nice and close and staggers the others. Veronica elected to peel this off. So with that the draw on the shot before for Team Smith not making it in, it changes the plans a little bit.
Gets the hit, moves around a bunch there, so now it will spin back in. So sitting one is Mary Myketyn-Driscoll.
Very excellent shot, cleared everything out of the center. Removed the guard, removed one stone out of the rings, and pushed the other one to the edge of the 12-foot, giving Veronica plenty of space to get in behind cover. Really need to make sure you know some nonverbal sweeping cues out there when you've got teams like Martin Krett next to you.
I think some people thought about that when I was in junior curling. I was always one to be loud there, like Martin.
Nice draw into the top 8-foot.
So it appears going for the hit and roll.
Yeah, Veronica just wants to move it. I would expect a little bit down weight, control weight, because she wants to stay around. Roll behind cover. So probably a control or bumper weight stone. Let's see, DiCarlo indicating that it looks like bumper or board weight. Very nice weight to stay in the rings.
So we'll sit the single there. So, but still the opportunity for Mary Myketyn-Driscoll to call for the hit.
With Mary sitting that biter over on the back of the 12-foot, it's going to really probably force Team Smith to take one this end if they exchange rocks on this side of the sheet. Get a little finish out of it. Just enough to clear it through the rings. Opportunity now for Veronica to get set up to perhaps get her deuce. Looking to draw around the front yellow.
So Sweeper's working on this one early.
Get by the
Trying
yellow.
to get by here. Sweeper's working on it.
Looking very nice. So now they have to drag it.
How far will they go? How far will they go? It will come to bite the top of the 12. Will remain a 1 for Mary Myketyn-Driscoll, excuse me. Right now in third stones, so it will give an opportunity for Bridget to come around the guard, it appears.
Yep, Mary's elected to call Bridget around the yellow front stones and set up for 2. Mary's red stone at the back of the 12-foot is sitting the single point, and the yellow stone at the top of the house is the second stone.
Sweeper's working on this a lot early there. So
yeah, they can drag it quite a bit. This needs to curl a little bit. Sit stop top 8-foot. Right on the double zeros. So just get that off the front and keep your shooter in the rings.
So as we see this stone here from Jane DiCarlo going for the hit.
Looking for a nice control board to control weight. Needs to curl a bit.
Gets the hit, rolls out the other side.
shot stone remains the red stone just beyond the tee line on the edge of the 12'4" team, Myketyn-Driscoll. So many clubs just getting up and running now, the 1st of November. I know the Mayflower has been up and running for a few months now. They did a preseason league in September, so a lot of these curlers have been on the ice since September. But they do have Learn to Curl programs, so if it's something you're interested in trying out, come on down, call the club, and they'll get you into the league of your choice.
Yeah, and they definitely have some great programming here at the Mayflower. Long-standing supporters of curling. Many champions, as you may see across the ice shed there, with the many banners of champions from this club. First stone of the end for Mary Myketyn-Driscoll to skip out of Halifax.
She tries to draw the top 8 foot. Full 12-foot area.
It is going a bit fast, so they may have overswept it a slight bit.
Yeah. It appears that Mary has a little more rotation on her stones, so they tend to travel a little bit farther.
Yeah, and that's been specifically on her her out turns, I believe. Yeah. I kind of had to think about that there. Yeah.
Out turn for a right-handed player. And for those of that it's more not sure if it's in turn or out turn, the counterclockwise rotation. So it is behind the tee line. Team Smith could use it to draw down to. Some discussion if they should hit and roll away, hit and roll in. We'll see if we can listen into it. So no question on whether or not they want to remove the stone. It's just which direction do they want to roll. If they roll behind cover, it sets up the opportunity for Mary to draw down behind cover with banking, because the stone would be behind the tee line. If they roll away, then opportunity for them to score one this end if they exchange stones.
So as we see, first of 2 from Veronica Smith, the skip out of Charlottetown PEI. Going for the hit. So with that weight, they'll be going for the roll behind cover, but the sweepers are working on it there.
Working hard to hold it straight.
Smith and Jenkins.
Get a little
gets
roll.
The hit, gets the
Very
roll.
Nice.
And sticks in the 8 foot. Great roll there from Veronica Smith.
I'm not sure if it might be open from the other side.
It does appear they are looking at that.
Looks like it is open. Of course, Mary is a right-handed player, so she's delivering from this side of the sheet, making it a little easier to get out to the broom on this side. Slightly different line into the stone. So it is tight line, so if she draws in, she could sit one.
Yeah, I suppose one of the main difficulties when it comes to playing that the side of the intern side was that you would kind of have to play a down weight, and it would be a bit of an issue to try to stick around in that area.
And the other option is we haven't seen a lot of rocks out that far, so you're not sure if the weight is the same as the center. At this point in the game, it probably is still a little heavier out there. So knowing if you're trying to throw hack weight to get a little bit of finish, you may need to throw board weight to get the same result, where it's a little heavier out there. But the goal here for Mary is to force Veronica to take one this end so that she could be up 2 with hammer.
So final stone without the last rock there for Mary Myketyn-Driscoll.
She's had
a little bit heavy here.
Yeah, she's had the 4 foot weight pretty much all night. Looks like it's going to be back 4 foot or more.
DiCarlo working on it here, and it will come to rest at the back of 12. So opportunity here for Veronica Smith to score her deuce. Just needs the 8-foot.
So we've seen this side of the sheet for most of the end. Just need to touch the orange. Line looks pretty good. It's all up to the sweepers now.
So there we go here, just dusting it in.
They do have Mary Stone that Mary just threw to go back to if needed.
But will not need it, will draw the top of the button, so scores her deuce to get the margin down to 1 shot. So Mary Myketyn-Driscoll maintains the lead 3-2 after 4, and Myketyn-Driscoll will have the last rock in end number 5. So unlike what some of our viewers may be familiar with some of the championship events, where usually there may be like a 4th or 5th end break, the teams will go right into end number 5.
Yep, no mid-game break for this crowd. We're tough on them. So, but typically in these types of events, we play right through the 8 ends. No time clocks, no timeouts, no snacks.
No snacks.
No snacks, that's fine.
What is the world coming to?
A lot of the teams sometimes will take, a power bar and some water out with them, so they'll just grab it between ends or as they need it.
I will mention as we start this end there, I just got a little a note from one of our friends, a friend of mine there up in New Brunswick there, Will Burns, one of my fellow public relations students at Mount St. Vincent University, tuning in to watch the action. So hope you're enjoying the game there, Will. And if any of our viewers do want to chime in on the conversation and send us your questions, comments, tell us where you're tuning in from, you can tweet me at John Siteman, JOHNSITEMAN, and we'd be more than happy to hear from you. We do have viewers from across Canada and around the world, so we'd love to hear from you here as we are into the 5th end.
So Veronica is utilizing the free guard zone. She placed her first stone midway on the center line, and Mary trying to duck in behind that.
So starting to get the curl here. Will come in. Where will it go? Where will it go? And it will come to bite the side of the button. Definitely does have a view of it from the hack, from what we can see.
Yeah, can see about 3/4 of it. So Veronica's going to come. This is in a good position. It is right on, just above the tee line. So if Veronica hits it, she'll remain probably top button. If she can get a little bit of a inside roll off of it. Remain top button in that 4-foot area. Even half behind cover is good. Kind of tease the opposition to try to hit it. Sweeping hard to get some curl out of it.
Gets the hit, rolls over to the side of the 8-foot. So it appears just at the start of this end here, starting to play a fairly open style once again.
Yeah, this forces Mary to a different part of the sheet, so chance of error is a little different out here where we haven't seen so many rocks in play. So going hard for line. Keep that rock as straight as possible.
Dusting it off, gets the hit, sticks at the side of the 8-foot.
Veronica choosing to go from the other side to try to remove this stone. And calling the shot from the side that she knows she can read the rock and the path of the stone a little better.
So we see the stone here from Sabrina Smith going for the out turn hit. Sweeper's working on it. We'll get the hits there. Where will it roll? It rolls over just a little bit.
It's always nice to roll a little bit after a hit because it'll change the path, so it's not an identical path every time you throw. So you never want you want your opponent guessing on the ice every time. So
definitely trying to just make them have a different view of it versus what you had, and if it was the same shot every time, it would be an easy game. So Mary calling for the hit, and from this angle, it looks like it will probably roll out there from Caitlin Beach. Gets a hit, rolls out the side.
Yeah. Opportunity now for Team Smith to get behind that centerline guard.
Oh, looks like we have our furthest away viewer already chiming in there. Andrew Davison, one of my fellow lawn bowlers from Edmonton, Alberta.
Awesome.
We do have an Alberta team in this event there, if I remember correctly. So
probably just getting off work and getting home and tuning in while he's making supper.
I believe he's tuning in after getting off of school there. Yeah. So nice to have you, Andrew, and hope you're enjoying the broadcast. So as we see Sabrina coming in, gets behind the guard. Top 8, sitting 1.
Looks like it's pretty close to covered. You might see what we just heard from the ice surface, that they can't see it. So Mary seems to think you could get in there with hack weight, but I elected to call it anyway, with the option to remove the front stone if it doesn't get by.
It does tend to curl a lot in this area, so a little bit down weight may give it that opportunity to curl.
Yeah, and the stone is halfway between the hog line and the top of the house, so there is some room to maneuver in there. And she threw nice weight. Just not going to get over enough for her.
And will sail by, so Veronica Smith will sit her single.
Not taking any chances that they can see that small little sliver. She'll get the guard up there. So called for it in a number 3 position, which is a tight guard, so very close to the rings.
Of course, that very familiar system of measuring where the rocks are in the house, popularized by Randy Furby, if I remember correctly.
That's
the legendary
right.
Furby 4.
So for those of you that don't know, they divided the area between the hog line and the back line into 10 sections, making communication much easier for the sweepers to determine where the stone would end. So a 7 would be a T-line, a 10 would be back line, a 1 would be a very high guard.
Sweeper's working on it here, just trying to get as much curl, and will come to rest just on the edge of the center line. So
peel now.
Electing to peel. As we see this stone here from Bridget McPhail of Team Myketyn-Driscoll. Her first of 2.
Just floating out a little bit. She'll get the top one for sure.
And we'll get the hit, rolls out, so opens up a little bit, gives an opportunity for Veronica to call for Jane DiCarlo to guard it up again. As Jane gets ready to throw, we'll just quickly mention there on sheet number 2, a steal of 2 for Julie McAvoy. 4-3 lead remains for Colleen Jones, and a game starting to get away from Doug McKenzie, unfortunately, there on sheet number 5, as it's 7-0 in favor of Myketyn-Driscoll. And a 1-1 curling game there for the game between Colin Thomas and Jamie Murphy on sheet number 6. Thomas will have the last rock and end number 5, if I remember correctly, but they're playing back, so they may have not even put it on the scoreboard yet.
So a guard attempt by Team Smith just came a little bit short. Didn't quite curl over as much as we wanted. So Team Myketyn-Driscoll trying to remove the closer guard.
Sweeper's just trying to get a bit of curl out of it.
Don't need much of it with this weight to get it out of the playing area.
Gets a hit, rolls to the outside there, so still fairly open house here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Veronica electing to guard again, try to go for her steal if she can get it.
Certainly shaping up that way. So nice guard here. Just touching center line would be nice, about in that number 3 area that we discussed earlier, just in front of the rings. If we get it too close to the tight of the rings, it sets up a double.
Absolutely.
So the more space between the guard and the shot stone, the better.
So first of 2 here from Veronica Smith without last rock here in end number 5. Sweeper's working on it, so it may be a little bit wide, but it's starting to come back now.
Yeah. The weight looks really nice. I just got to sweep it now to get it to come over to center. Like we said, we want the edge of the stone to touch that center line. So it blocks off that hole.
And that, just as you drew it up there, she makes it. But it looks like Mary is looking at the double here.
She's lining it up so that if she can hit it and catch the other one on the way through, she would be more advantageous to her. It just wants to hit it on the outside, not too far off of where Bridget's broom is. Drive it back into the other yellow and roll her shooter away so that she can keep that path open for her second stone.
So first of 2 here from Mary Myketyn-Driscoll. Skip out of Halifax. Again, it does seem like this side does remain fairly out there, so she will get the hit and removes the guard of Veronica Smith.
So Veronica will just replace that guard.
It could make it interesting because now that Mary will have thrown a hit on her first stone, if Veronica can place a really good guard here, it would cause a big change in the shot that she would have to go for the draw. And
yeah,
the weight control could be a factor there.
Yeah, if Mary's successful, if Veronica's successful in getting the guard similar to where she just threw, then it leaves Mary a draw to the 4-foot without backing, and she would have to touch the 4-foot. It certainly would be there, but it would be very difficult, although Mary has had fairly good weight most of the evening.
So final stone 4, Veronica Smith with that last rock going for the guard. Sweepers haven't touched it yet.
It's got to curl a long way to get up to center. So just a waiting game until that weight comes off just enough that they can start sweeping to get it to curl.
So it will come into the house.
Blocks one path to the 4-foot. Sets up an opportunity for a double, though.
It is one of those ones that you do have to hit it just right there in the pocket. If you can get that, you can get your double and get your single.
So a slightly different path than she just threw. But Mary throws a nice rotation on her rock, so it should stay quite straight.
So final stone here in end number 5. Mary Myketyn-Driscoll going for the double. Sweeper's working on it here. Gets the hit, will jam, so it will be a steal of 1 for Veronica Smith there to tie this game up after 5.
Yeah, just didn't. Yeah, Mary just didn't quite get the angle she needed to get the yellow far enough away for her to outcount from hers.
Well, looks like we have a final over on the sheet next to us. So it does appear that Martin Kretz has finished out that match against Doug McKenzie. I didn't see what the result was in end number 5, but after 4, it was 7-0 in favor of Martin Kretz. So the team out of Quebec will be very happy about that one, getting another win.
Yeah, if you want the full update of the scores on that sheet, you could go to Curling Zone.
Yeah, the World Curling Tour has the live up-to-date scoring for all of the games in play here throughout the weekend. So worldcurlingtour.com, if I remember correctly.
Yep. The rest of the games that are still in progress are all quite even.
So as teams get started with end number 6, we see this first stone from Whitney Jenkins of Team Veronica Smith. Calling for the guard.
Try to utilize that new 5-rock free guard zone. Nice high guard. Mary as well electing to throw up a guard. This one over on the corner near the edge of the 8-foot. Be lots of rocks in play this end.
Yeah, definitely shaping up to like that for sure, as we see this first stone from Michelle McDonald going for the guard.
Yeah, we're
just dusting it off here.
Closing in on the final ends of the game, so a team's really looking to jump ahead now. So Mary's looking to score 2 with her hammer.
And it's an ideal scenario if she would score her 2 in this end, considering the fact that now if you went back and forth, she would have a hammer in the final end.
The ever-elusive hammer. So Team Smith trying to come around here. Advantage with this new 5-rock free guard zone is she would love to have a second guard that can't be removed. If it goes in and gets buried, that's...
Carolyn Smith working on it here, trying to get the curl. Will come to the top of 12, but appears to be probably about half open there.
Mary's going to ignore that and set up her deuce. So she's going to go around behind her guard. Trying to draw around this red one.
Sweeper's just dusting it off here.
Needs to curl. It's going to be back of the house. Team electing to take it back farther.
So it came down a bit more than they thought. I think I was hearing 9 called there, so that would be about the
Back
deep
8
part
foot.
of the 8-foot, top of 12-ish. Sorry, back to 12. Well, it's a long evening.
It's the first event we're covering, so we're getting used to the monitors, angles. Not taking any chances to try and remove the red stone.
So it does appear to be playing for the hit here, so Smith working it in here. Here Jenkins with the sweep, gets the hit, rolls out the back, so still sitting their single is Team Veronica Smith.
Not really a concern, the Yellowstone at the top of the house, because you can still outdraw it quite easily. So Mary's drawing around her corner guard. Got to curl a bit. Weight looks a little better on this one.
Comes the rest, just biting the edge of the 8. So sitting shot stone is Mary Myketyn-Driscoll.
Yeah, can see about a half to 2/3 of it. So Veronica's going to try and hit and perhaps roll behind her own stone. Game's all going at a good pace here.
So we'll get the hit, rolls over a little bit just underneath the 5 in the phone number there. So sitting 1-2 is Veronica Smith.
There is 2 stones out front, yellow on the center line and a red over in the corner, but this stone is open. So opportunity for Mary to roll behind her own stone. Could also roll behind the others as well.
Yeah, either option works really well.
Yeah.
Sweeper's not touching it there, so.
Yeah, just waiting for it to finish that
down.
little bit so that we can get the roll out of it.
Sweeper's working on it now here, trying to get the roll there, and it will come to rest. Second shot stone, but gives an opportunity here for Jane DiCarlo.
Each shot seems to get a little bit closer to center, so which team will get it? Some discussion here. Not sure she wasn't clear on the shot, or
I have this feeling there may have been a bit of a distraction in behind because they were kind of looking around behind into the glass. So just want to be absolutely sure that you're focused and ready to go on your shot.
For sure, any disruption to your shot routine or pre-shot routine, usually you want to reset. Also, sometimes you want to just make sure you're sure you can visualize what your shot is and what the expectation is for the outcome.
So gets the hit and sticks right there, so it will sit 1-2. Definitely still open on that stone, so we'll give the opportunity for Mary to call for Bridget to go for the hit and roll. Even if she does a hit and stick, it appears that it would remain shot stone.
Yeah, and then Veronica would have a difficult time to get a shot. If Mary hits nose here, the next rock's probably not going to be in the rings anymore. We're getting close to the edges now.
So Veach and McDonald working on it. Comes to rest over there at the side of the 12, so it will still be the shot stone. Veronica calling for Jane DiCarlo to play the hit and roll, it appears as well. That's been a pretty common shot this end.
One of the difficult things with the hit and roll is the preciseness of it. You have to get the exact angle and the right weight. Sometimes just the open hit is easier. This looks very good.
Gets a hit and rolls behind her own there. So sits 1-2.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she didn't set up a double there for Mary.
There is some separation there, but it does appear like Mary is going to ignore that and come around. Still a significant amount of room there, considering that all she has to do is draw around and into the 8-foot.
Yeah, and we're seeing the stones finish from the hog line in, so you can really get them buried in there.
So second stone here from Bridget McPhail. The third, fourth team, Mary Myketyn-Driscoll out of Halifax.
Still has some room to curl.
It does have a little bit of weight there, but it's coming down.
I think they've elected to try and sweep it back farther, giving a little more room to. If you leave that in the back of the button, then Veronica can draw down to it, sit on the button. Whereas if they sweep it back farther, then it's an opportunity for Mary to get in on the button with backing.
So on to skip stones here as we see Veronica Smith with her first of 2.
Skips rocks in the 6th end in all 3 games. We'll have some score updates for you very soon.
And lots of rocks in play all over the 3 sheets remaining. So.
Yeah, I would expect with this new 5-rock rule, you have quite a few rocks in play. A lot more finesse shots we'll see this year.
It definitely produces some high offense for the teams there. First of 2 from Veronica Smith.
Line looks good here.
Sweeper's working on it, trying to get every little bit of weight that they can.
Just came up a little light.
So opportunity here for Mary Myketyn-Driscoll on her first of 2.
Yep, she's looking to draw in top 4 foot if she can get there. Half or a little better of a stone buried. So just discussing with her front end what she's looking for weight. So all the players have a clear indication what the shot expectation is.
Yeah, always important for everybody to be on the same page before that rock goes, and they're definitely understanding the shot. Sweeper's working on it early, so they may be seeing it a low bit, trying to get around. Weight starting to come down here.
Yeah, just trying to get that extra little bit of finish out of it. Right on the tee line.
Does appear that there may be an opportunity for Veronica on her final stone to make a play on those. Yes, it does appear that the majority of it is open, so you could play the double.
You could. You could also just draw down to it and move it back a little bit. Make it very difficult for Mary to remove your stone if you have the 2 reds in the behind you.
Absolutely.
That's, you know, at the beginning of the end, did you set out to score 1 point, or did you want to force Mary to take 1 so you would have the hammer? Down 1 with hammer is not a bad option to have, even if they blank the 7th and we're in the 8th in that opportunity.
Looks like it, as we had been discussing there, they're just toying with the possibility of tapping or drawing that area or playing with some weight.
Yeah, she could definitely throw some weight at it, attempt to remove it, sit perhaps 3 if the shooter stays around, which would force Mary to take 1. Can pretty much see almost all of the red stones, so if she hits what she can see, she should get her double.
So final stone here for Veronica Smith with that last rock here in end number 6.
No sweeping yet. There we go. Trying to get a little bit of movement out of it. She'll remove one of the stones. This leaves a draw for 2 for Mary.
There we go. So sitting one is Mary Myketyn-Driscoll. So final stone.
Unfortunate for Smith, the stone just didn't come up the way she needed it to get a big enough piece of the second red stone to get it out of the rings. So Mary needs full 8 foot to score her deuce. A little bit of work from the sweepers here. So just to be sure that we're in the 8 foot.
So coming here, a little bit heavy, so was it enough? Working on it here, comes to the back of the 12, so a little bit of an opportunity missed there for Mary Myketyn-Driscoll, but still takes her single to go up 4-3 after 6. Veronica Smith will have the last rock in end number 7, playing the yellow stones.
This will be an interesting end for Veronica Smith to see how she plays it. If she wants to maintain the hammer in the 8th end and just be down 1 and play the hammer, or if she'll try and score her deuce and be up 1 without. So just depends which type of team DNA you have as far as strategy and which opportunity you'd rather have coming home.
Absolutely. Quick update as the teams have their discussions in between ends. A blank end in end number 5 between Julie McAvoy and Colleen Jones. Colleen is up 4-3 and retains the hammer in end number 6.
And she has a draw for 2 now.
And I feel like they haven't been putting up some scores on end number 6 because, like on sheet number 6, as it does appear that they are still reading 1-1 there between Colin Thomas and Jamie Murphy.
Yeah, they have not indicated what the score was in the 5th. It may have been a blank. Sometimes we run out of spots to hang the blanks, so it may have been a blank. As we start end number 7, Mary opting to use the free guard zone, place the first stone about halfway on the center line.
Yep, that is confirmed. It was a blank and in end number 5, so Jamie Murphy is 1-1, but according to this there, he is sitting 2 in the house going to the final stone from Colin Thomas.
It looks like Veronica Smith is trying the tick shot that Lisa Weigel makes famous.
Yeah, definitely one of the biggest skills recently of the lead, to play that finesse tick shot.
Yeah, typically it's thrown just as a very heavy draw with tight ice. That way you can just move it a little bit. Just want to get it off center 2 or 3 feet. It doesn't have to be very far. So just over curls a little bit for them, but it does move the red stone off center a bit, leaving the yellow one there that they can use later on if they need to run it back, or they can peel their own on the next rock. So a few options for them.
So do you think that now with the 5 rock rule, the tick shot is going to become a bit more prominent and more important for the lead, or compared to the 4 rock rule? Or
it will be interesting to see just how popular it will be, just simply because if you don't get that first stone off the center line, I don't think you'd see it too much with the second stone. I think it will be the first stone, just get that one of the rocks out of the way. I think it's going to be a lot more option, like the second stone's first rock or their second rock, depending on if they have hammer. I think you're going to see a lot more double peels. There's going to be a different skill set required there now.
For sure. As we see there, Mary Myketyn-Driscoll's team coming to rest at the back of the button.
Yeah, because it is behind the tee line, Veronica Smith can opt to draw right down to it, sit number 1. If this is frozen right in there, it would be a very great shot and put a lot of pressure on Mary.
So Whitney Jenkins here with her second.
Line looks really nice.
Looks extremely nice here. So coming in to the house.
Great communication for wait in line. Great shot.
Well played there from Jenkins. There at lead for Veronica Smith. Taps a little bit, so.
Yeah, it moves it back a little.
Single.
Yep. So Mary trying to lock on there. If she could be a little bit off center, it might set up opportunity to move and maybe move the stones around a little bit and squeeze that yellow out. All about setting up for the next shot.
So on to second stones here, Caitlin Veach going for the draw in there, trying to get as close as possible to that yellow.
Looking to be about quarter frozen on the yellow. Little bump, very nice.
Taps the yellow to be fully on top of the button.
So Veronica trying to take those angles away by drawing down top 4. This is where you're going to see a lot more of the finesse shots with the 5-rock rule. You'll have more guards, more opportunity to get behind cover. This one's just not curling for them. I don't know if she set it out. Hard to see the release points from
it does appear to be the weight was a little bit up there for sure. So it does sail through the house. Gives a bit of an opportunity for Mary Myketyn-Driscoll here with the second stone here from Caitlin Veach.
Yeah, so she's looking to throw about back of the 4-foot weight, come down to her own stone and just move those stones a little around a little bit, change the angles so that they can set up a hit to get that yellow one out of there at some point, probably when around Bridget's first stone. Rolling hard on the sweepers.
Working on it here, so comes in.
We got around the guards, no problem, and very nice.
Taps, get some movement, so good results for the Myketyn-Driscoll rink.
Veronica very quick to put the stone there, looking to get rid of the stones in the front now. So this will be peel weight. So just gonna remove the yellow stone of the center.
Gets the hit, rolls out to the sides.
So the front end indicating they like guarding, replacing the guard.
It's definitely one of those situations there that replacing the guard gives them an opportunity a little bit later. Just it's all in, I guess the way I see it, a little bit in the patience of this end. You could play to try to remove the yellow now, but then there's the possibility that you may not be able to set it up as much later in the end.
Yeah, with the yellow one in there, it's keeping Veronica from trying to remove your red stones. So you really don't want that yellow stone gone until the very end. So putting the guard up, at least this time the guard is your color, so if it gets run back, it's your stone going back into the pile and potentially setting you up for a better scoring opportunity. So electing to put the guard back up is a great call.
So as we see a stone here from Bridget McPhail.
So the guard could be for 12-foot, biting the 12-foot. It doesn't have to be up in, the free guard zone. The closer it is, then the more likely they can utilize it as a run back.
So it does come to rest at the top of the 12. Still sitting at the button is Veronica Smith.
Yep. That was a great stone placement. It's directly in front of the one on the top 4, so easy to run back.
I suppose the danger in this specific situation is that pretty much if you do play the run back, you are probably moving your own yellow as well.
Yeah, the front ones are lined up that they'll split the stone off.
Yeah, the third one there, the one closest to the yellow, will probably cause the jam. There is a red at the back, so looks like they're going to have a look at this. Be absolutely sure.
Yeah, the red stone at the back should catch the yellow, but there is quite a bit of separation there now, so the angle may not be there to catch it completely. So she'll call the team down so everybody can get a look at this.
Yeah, that will probably, if it does jam, it will jam on the back, so it would stay in the 4-foot.
Yeah, there's an option to run the front one back if you hit the side of center that Whitney's standing on right now. You could run it back towards the outside edge of the button, perhaps get all 3 with very minimal contact to your yellow, but then your yellow's wide open as well, so. The time of the end where you need, that's a lonely yellow in there.
Absolutely.
Great shot of the lineup there. So that front stone that's closest to the bottom of the screen, if you hit it slightly on the right side of the screen, you potentially could get all 3 off the top of the rings. We're not fancy enough to have nice Telestrator pens and whatnot here, but maybe a sponsor will come on board and we'll get all technical.
Oh, you never know. As the teams do discuss, we will just quickly note their 2-4 Colleen Jonesing in number 6, so up 6-3, playing in number 7 against Julie McAvoy, and a 3-point end there for Jamie Murphy to go up 4-1 over Colin Thomas on sheet number 6. Thomas will have the hammer in and number 7.
So of course these types of events, there's no time clock, so there's no timeout called for this discussion. Also means there's no coach interaction as well, so a lot of times the teams are traveling without coaches for events like this.
It was one of those things that it was a bit unfamiliar when I saw it at the Grand Slam, because it's very common there at these tour events to not have a coach coming with you, but there were many that did bring coaches. I did see Victor Schell, the new coach of Team Jones there, and of course as well Andrew Atherton, the longtime coach of the now Team Caitlin Jones.
Yeah, a lot of those coaches are traveling with them now. They're tracking shot statistics and trends and things like that, so that you can figure out what the opposition's doing, what you're doing, how you can counteract a specific style of play, things like they're tracking rocks, tracking ice conditions. So there's a big job for somebody behind the glass, whether it's the role of a 5th player or the role of the coach, to monitor all those things. Takes a little bit of pressure off the teams playing if they know going out that how the stones are going to run and what the ice conditions are.
So as we see the stone here from DiCarlo looking for the run.
Yeah, I think she's looking to hit it just a little bit on the off center.
Gets some movement there, so it will leave Myketyn-Driscoll sitting shot stone at the top of the 4.
Yeah, it certainly spreads out the stones, so now there's a path to the 4-foot. Does move the yellow stone back farther on the back 4-foot. So Mary could draw down to it. Veronica left herself with a few shots. There's an in-off that Mary's indicating there. She can run her yellow back onto the red now. So certainly improve the position for Team Smith. So there is a red stone out in front of that back yellow one, so the open hit is not easy to do. You could probably get at it through a hack weight type shot, but they're electing just to draw in. So full 4 is the call, as the sweepers and throwers discuss what they need to throw to get that. So far, line's looking pretty good.
Sweepers working on this one here.
Just a little redirection off that red, perhaps. Very
nice. A little
nice.
bit of a rub. Sits third shot.
Yeah, it takes that line from the hit and roll off that outside red one into the 4-foot, so that line is now gone. Of course, the yellow stone in the back still sitting number 2. So Veronica's first instinct is the double.
I like that center one. See you later.
So they like the run back as well.
It could never get hard, could it?
If they try the outside double, they may jam on their back 4-foot.
So it looks like they are electing for the run back, yellow on to red.
Looking just to hit just the outside of the yellow. I think if you hit nose, you'll get the red jam on the yellow, so we're looking to hit the outside of the yellow just a hair.
Working on it here, gets the hit, moves it over and sits her 2. Good result there from DeCarlo.
Great result. She blocks off the draw now on the other side as well by having that yellow stone there. The yellow stone is visible with the outturn, probably about a half a stone.
And the benefit now is that there is the catchers there, the red on the side, that could kind of assist in that for sure.
Yeah, now Mary could slice the outside of that and raise her own stone in because they are frozen. So, and leave herself a stone out there as a bail if she needs it. So as we get near the end of the game, the shots get a little more finesse, a little more technically. Lots of discussion on angles and weights.
And definitely one of those situations where you really want to be absolutely sure of the call and that you want to throw.
Yeah, ultimately it comes down to what shot Mary is comfortable throwing.
Absolutely.
Is she comfortable with draw weight? Is it in her back pocket, so to say? Or is she rather more comfortable throwing a little bit more up weight and throwing that slice? The slice is difficult just because you do have to hit such a small portion of the stone, whereas an open draw right now she would have almost the full 4-foot to draw to.
In this case, the main danger that I see with the position that they have right now is that it's such a tight draw line to try to get to that stone at the back of the 4-foot that you could risk it rolling over and onto the open side.
Yeah, I think with the line that she's looking at right now, even if you do, I think the yellow stone on the left of center, you just have to get by that to get in. If you do hit the yellow stones in the 4-foot and roll over, you have cover on the other side with the yellow stone if you can get over far enough. And brushing right away. The weight looks pretty good.
Definitely does here as the sweepers work on it. Needing to curl it just a little bit more here. Coming down now.
I'm going to brush it hard to get it to finish into the 4-foot. Very good, nice.
Does come to rest short, so will remain 2 for Veronica Smith right now going into the final.
Yeah, although it was
stones.
short, not quite the expected outcome that they were hoping for, it is in a position that they can raise now.
Absolutely. So it does appear that that would elect Veronica Smith to go a guard.
Yeah, she just needs a guard.
Try to guard against that tap.
Yeah, anywhere along the center line, we'll guard that tap. and most likely send Mary to throw that slashing shot that she saw earlier out on the edge of the 8-foot. So looking for about halfway between the hog line and the front of the house, with the stone touching the center line. And we have a game final over on sheet 2. Once we know the score, we'll get that out to you.
But it does appear there that Colleen Jones has picked up her victory in this round 2 of the Dave Jones Stanhope Simpson Mayflower Cashspiel.
So guard just on the other side of center, blocking that line into the 4-foot to raise. So we're looking at that slash that we saw on the last shot. So it looks like they might be playing this with some takeout weight, probably a control to a control up. You have the yellow stone at the back of the 4-foot that will catch your red stone that gets raised. So you can send a little bit of weight at it.
Definitely can afford to give it just that little bit of a surety there, so to speak, there.
Yeah, you just enough weight on it so you don't have to worry about it taking a curling too quick on you.
Final stone here from Mary Myketyn-Driscoll here in end number 7.
Be all line call now. Very nice.
Nice result there from Myketyn-Driscoll there. Does leave the tap opportunity for Veronica on her last. It's a challenging shot, but it is there.
It is there. There is a red stone out front covering about half of the yellow stone. I think you want to play this with, back of the house weight so that you can control that rate of curl and the break point of the stone, so that you can get in there. She wants to move the red stone probably about 2 feet so that she can keep the stone that she raises in for her second counter. So as we see the screen there now, she probably wants to hit the stone at about between 10 and 11 o'clock. Probably a little closer to 11 o'clock, and run it right into that red and push the red back into the back 8-foot. And that would give her her deuce.
Definitely important moment here in the match for Veronica Smith here in end number 7, looking for her deuce.
And she would then be up 1 coming home without the hammer, which is not a bad option. I think down 2 with hammer, you could do it, as we saw last weekend in the slam. It's doable.
Definitely doable for sure.
Especially with the new 5-rock rule. You have that opportunity to get lots of guards in play.
Final stone here from Veronica Smith in end number 7 with the last rock.
Looking to raise her yellow onto the back, red stone in the back 4-foot, and move that 2 feet so she can score her 2.
Sweeper's working on it here.
Working hard to get that last little finish out of it. I think it's going to be too thin. She might get a single point out of it.
It does appear here like it would be a single. It just wicked over enough.
Yeah, 1 yellow, as indicated from the thirds.
There, so we are all tied up going into the final, and 4-4 between Team Mary Myketyn-Driscoll of Halifax and Team Veronica Smith of the Charlottetown. Mary Myketyn-Driscoll will have the last rock in end number 8, playing the Red Stones.
So we'll see how much the 5-rock free guard zone rule is used in this end. Smith will be looking to steal 1, so she'll want lots of rocks in the front of the house. Mary Myketyn-Driscoll will be also looking to score her 1, but she, throwing last rock, will want to keep everything open so that she has a path to the button with her last rock.
As we get started with this end, we'll remind our viewers this is the last draw for the evening. We'll be coming back to you at 8:45 Atlantic time tomorrow, 7:45 Eastern Standard Time, as it will be Ed Sear from New Brunswick facing off against Chad Stevens, the former Nova Scotia runner-up in the provincial tankard and many times provincial champion.
Yeah, Chad's got a new lineup this year, so he's got one of Graham Brecken has returned to his team lineup after a few years off, so anxious to see how that lineup's going to work for them this year. I expect it will see them at our tankard playoff.
And it will be great to see that them on our broadcast tomorrow, so you can tune in, of course, live on cbcsports.ca and also on the World Curling Tour YouTube channel. So lots of great, exciting action here from the Mayflower as we continue along with this 8th end. Calling 8-9, so back toward the back of the 4-foot, back of the 8, but coming down now.
Yeah, as we saw before, if they're looking at an 8-9, we want to make sure it's way back. Don't want to give the Smith team an opportunity to have backing at the area around the button. But we're in the last end, so the ice might be getting a little heavier because the sweepers had indicated that it perhaps was back 8 foot, and it actually was top 8 foot. Front end seems to think it's a dangerous stone and wants it taken out. I think they're waiting for the yelling to calm down so that they can talk to each other.
Yeah, a bit of a tight clash there between Jamie Murphy and Colin Thomas. That is also in its final end over there, so we will give you updates as we receive them.
So the line must have been too close for comfort, so they've elected to draw around.
So Jenkins playing around the guard here. Sweeper's working on it. Need to get it by. It does appear, yes, and it will jam on their own guard.
Yeah, just a little lighter than they intended and caught the curl a little earlier. So. Mary will try to go around. So 2 stones in a row that were light, so I'm expecting that the ice is getting a little heavier now that the pebble's wearing down. See if Michelle can make the adjustment here on this side.
So Michelle with her second of 2 here, looking for it to come around. Sweeper's working on it now. Comes to rest, just biting the, actually, correction, about halfway into the 4 foot, so.
Yeah, that's a great shot. The path into the center is covered with that red stone. So Veronica can't get there without removing it. And it's half buried. Those stones that are half buried kind of tempt you sometimes. Do you hit them or go around them?
For sure, especially in a situation here where you are a tie game, you really have to be extra sure.
Yeah.
As we see a stone here from Sabrina Smith.
Needs to come up just a little bit more. Just try to tap that red to the back of the house.
So moves that around a little bit. It's second shot at the top of the 8. So Mary calling on her second, Caitlin Veach, to go for the peel, clear up the front.
This is the 6th stone of the end, so we can remove these now. we catch this right, we might get all of the front cleared out.
Does peel out one of the Veronica Smith stones. Rolls out the side, so still remains one shot in favor of Mary Myketyn-Driscoll.
Yeah, and that single shot, that counting point is at the back of the 4-foot, so Veronica's just ignoring it. As I say, once they go behind the tee line, you can't bring them back, so they can't be promoted further in for points, so they can just be moved back and out. They're a little bit of a help to Veronica if she can get yellow stones in front of them. So just looking for another centerline guard. Little rub off the existing guard.
So now Mary electing to call for another peel, try to clear up that front.
Yeah, these two guards for Team Smith are closer together now. A little bit easier to get the double peel.
Beach with the throw, going for the peel. Gets them both sticks in the middle there.
Yeah, she leaves her own stone up there as a guard. However, it is your color, so it will still be a guard for Team Smith, but the opportunity to promote it back will be in favor of red now. So Smith just keeping Team Myketyn-Driscoll busy out front until we get near the end of the end.
So on to third stones as we see Jane DiCarlo here with her first of two, looking to guard up the front. And will come to rest just biting the center line. As we prepare for this stone here from Bridget McPhail, we will update their 4-2 lead for Jamie Murphy. There was a single point and for Colin Thomas in end number 7, so Murphy does have the last rock in end number 8.
So another peel opportunity for Team Myketyn-Driscoll.
Just drifting out there, so we'll see if it has any contact.
Catch
it
the
does
back
get
one.
contact. Wow.
That's what you call a positive miss.
Now it generates an opportunity, though, that Team Smith will now elect to try to draw in around.
Yeah, now they have the opportunity to try and get number 1 out of it instead of being number 2.
A really well-placed draw here would really put the Team Myketyn-Driscoll under pressure going into the late stages of this match.
Yeah, as we say, you're not really worried about how many points they have in the house as long as you're number 1. We only need 1 point to win. For
all you need is 1 in a tie game situation like this. Smith and Jenkins working on this stone, trying to get every inch of curl that they can get.
Yeah, line's good to go to the back red one. Mary will try and get some separation.
We'll just tap the stone at the back of the 4-foot. Still remaining shot stone.
So the guards out front are still a danger because they block off the run back opportunities. She could just follow her down and sit right on the tee line, frozen.
Looks like Mary's electing to call for the freeze tee line onto that stone of team Veronica Smith at the back of the 4 foot, so going for shot stone here.
Yeah, if she can sit frozen on the tee line, it'd be very difficult for Veronica to get in there for the shot stone. May even force her to the other side of the sheet, which we haven't played at all this end.
Well, it's a bit wide here, so looks like it will.
May knock the yellow further undercover.
Yes, it does move it further undercover, so opportunity here for Veronica Smith going in to skip stones.
Yeah, I think Veronica's want to probably draw a top 4 foot here. She could get half buried behind that red stone we see there on the 8 foot behind the yellow. The other draw opportunity as well is there, although we haven't seen any stones down there yet. Comes down to which shot she's more comfortable throwing. Checking with her front end to see how much of the yellow stone Mary potentially could see. I like the stone tucked around the red.
Yeah, I definitely like that too. That would be a good position there to put a lot more pressure onto Mary going into her final stones.
I guess the tolerance, if you were a little bit short and sat kind of on the end of the phone number there around the 2 and 5, you could also promote that with your last rock if you needed to.
It looks like they, just based on what I just heard there, it does appear like they may be, would they be guarding? Because I think I heard the sound, like they were discussing placing it just above the phone number on that side of the sheet.
Yeah, I think they want it just above the 2-5 so they can run it into the 4 foot with their last rock. This would keep Mary from getting into that area as well. Perhaps sending Mary to peel or do something with the rocks out front, perhaps jamming something. Again, the red team has hammer here. So Veronica Smith looking to get something set up to cover her single point.
So first of 2 here from Veronica Smith, the skip out of Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. Looking for the guard.
The weight looks nice. May overcurl a little bit for them. Definitely blocks the path into that 4 foot for team Myketyn-Driscoll.
It does look like Mary is lining it up for the double raise.
Yes, the yellow in the center back onto her red, onto the yellow. Coming down to the last rocks over on sheet 6. So the danger with running this many stones back in a row is the distance between them, and every time the distance expands, you have the stone will take the opposite curl each time, so it could change the line sometimes in your favor, sometimes not in your favor. So precision is quite key here. So great angle here, looking to nose that yellow that's on the center back onto the red into the 4 foot button area.
So down to, again, final stones of the evening here as we see this first stone of Mary Myketyn-Driscoll. big shot here for the skip out of Halifax.
Yeah, comes down to a line call now. Need a precision line. So almost got the raise on the other stone, but she was successful in opening that center up. So she does have last rock. The center is open. So Veronica will look to block that line.
Yeah, so now it will be a guard for Veronica Smith for her final stone without last rock, playing the yellow stones.
Force Mary to make another double run back or try to do the out-turn draw around. Though that doesn't give her much room to get a full piece of the 4-foot.
Update of the game on sheet number 6. Jamie Murphy has run Colin Thomas out of stone, so it will be a 4-2 victory for the champions of Nova Scotia there as they pick up that victory over Newfoundland Labrador's Colin Thomas.
Veronica's last rock, looking to guard the center line area. Looking for about halfway between the hog line and the top of the house.
And
very nice.
Perfect shot there from Smith. So big final stone here for Mary Myketyn-Driscoll with the last rock.
Yeah, so she can try the out-turn draw and try and get most of the 4-foot. The yellow stone belonging to Team Smith at the back of the 4-foot is about halfway in the 4-foot, or almost all the way in the 4-foot. So she needs, if she drew around, she has to get full 4. There's not a lot of room to get around her top red ones to do that. So the other option she's looking at is running one of the stones from out front back into her own pile and raise either one of the red stones in the front.
It's almost fairly similar to the shot that she just threw, so she kind of has a bit of a feel for that area.
Yeah, she's definitely very similar to her other shot. The line is a little bit different, and as we said, the more stones involved in tapping back becomes a little more complicated with each line, trying to anticipate where you need to hit each stone. All she would have to do is move the red stone on the top of the 8-foot about 2 feet to score her point.
So as Myketyn-Driscoll heads to the hack for her final stone, big shot here for the skip. Looking for the double raise to win the game. Final stone for Mary Myketyn-Driscoll with the hammer in end number 8. Looking for it to curl down.
Needs to curl some more. Will she catch one of her stones?
Oh, and what a result there. So it will be a single point for Mary Myketyn-Driscoll to pick up the win 5-4 over Veronica Smith of Prince Edward Island as they start this pool play round robin with a win. So as we finish up this game, any final thoughts there, Karen, as we sign off here?
I think it's going to be an exciting event. This is the first draw for these teams, so our second draw overall. So tune in to us or drop by the Mayflower Curling Club tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday to see some more of these exciting matches.
So tomorrow we will be coming back to you at 8:45 Atlantic time, 7:45 Eastern time, as we will have Team Sear versus Team Stevens here on sheet number 4. Till we talk to you again from the Mayflower Curling Club, I'm John Siteman saying so long from Halifax.